Whew.
So, everybody in here, you know, we have a guest in our house. Justin Braden's a guest in our house. We treat everybody with respect, but we raise it a notch right now, okay? Respect is important, so being a good audience is super important. Your attention should be on him during this whole presentation, and you're going to leave here with something. I want you to think about how you can connect this to your life, how you can make the most out of your life, and those little setbacks you might have, how you can persevere and get through them, right? Understood? Yeah. So we're going to be a good audience, we're going to listen, and be respectful. I'll turn over to you, Justin.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Hello, hello. Thank you, guys. Everybody hear me? Good? Okay. Okay, everybody. My name is Justin Braden, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my journey as a hand amputee over the past a little over 2 years, and how I've been able to turn some of my challenges into some of my strengths. Some of the topics that we'll be talking about today are the building blocks to my accident, kind of some of the things that happened before my accident that I think helped set up of how I was able to do well with my hand amputation, I'd say as best as possible. The second is week 1. Now, I know I spelt that wrong, but this week was probably one of the most important weeks of my life because it was very pivotal that I had to win this first week after my accident. We'll also talk about how I adapted to challenges, how my prosthetics work, mindset and mental strength, finding good even when it's hard, and just kind of some conclusion. So is everybody ready? Yeah. Okay. The building blocks to my accident, I was just like you guys not too long ago, sitting right where you were at, different school. But I enjoyed sports, school, hanging out with my friends. My entire life, I started from the age of 5. I started wrestling, playing sports, and playing football. Those were things that I found to be really hard, especially with wrestling. It's a one-person sport, and I felt like doing it from the age of 5 all the way throughout high school really helped give me the building blocks of having losses. You know, when you lose in wrestling, it is only there by yourself. And it kind of helped me as an individual set some foundations. But I had some injuries come about where when I was a junior in high school playing football, I tore my labrum. Now, this is a surgery where basically my shoulder tore, and I was pretty sad about it. You know, I was in the peak of my high school sports, getting ready to try to excel, and I had a big setback. Now, I got through that, did rehab, everything went well. 10 months later, I ended up tearing my exact same shoulder and was out of wrestling again, which was my favorite and preferred sport. Now, at the time, you can see from even my first surgery to the second, that is my first surgery on the left, and then that was my second on the right. You can tell I just kind of gave up a little bit. I was not really trying as hard, and I was just kind of a little defeated. I just felt like I just went through so much, and I was at a lower point, but I really didn't know what was to come. So I'm sure you guys want to know, how did I lose 4 fingers in an accident? Well, I was in a UTV accident where I was driving, and it tipped over, which crushed and lacerated some of my fingers. And I just wanted to show the x-ray for you guys to kind of understand that there really wasn't much going back. So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever had something happen that has changed your day or week of an injury? I'll pick one person. In the gray.
So one of my kind of accidents I used to have was when I used to be with my mom at that time. So it's where one of the swings broke, and then I ended up scraping my knee.
Okay.
And literally I felt almost defeated. Like I felt like I wasn't strong enough.
Exactly. So. Exactly. You just had to take it day by day and slowly get stronger and keep getting better day by day, right? So that is how my accident happened. I believe these building blocks were super important because without maybe some of my shoulders, without wrestling, I should say, it may not have gave me mental strength to deal with these surgeries. And without already going through 2 labrum surgeries, I may not have been able to be mentally prepared to deal with a whole entire hand amputation because that was much different. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Both of these videos play at the same time. I will get, hang on. Also, I didn't want audio. I'm sorry, how do you get? Okay, so week 1, this was a very important week for me. The first week was definitely the hardest. It was physically and emotionally, but I didn't want to feel sorry for myself. I had to decide, do I feel sorry for myself or do I fight back? I started celebrating small wins, every little thing I could do again. You know, it's crazy how even when you can tie your shoes or tie your pants, how sometimes that can become a win for you. But you have to be able to take every single win and build upon it. When you have a hand amputation like myself, you have to understand that this is not going to be fixed tomorrow. It kind of settled in with me that this is my life. This is not like breaking an arm or breaking a leg. This is something that I have to adjust and get better with every single day of my life because there is no going back. There is no changing. So in the first video here, I just wanted to try to set you guys back into my mental state. This was my first day in the hospital, and this was me showing my hand. This was me late at night by myself when everyone was, kind of left, and I was sad. This is me getting all my IVs pulled out of my arm, which was extremely painful. And then this was my last day out. I spent 4 days in Northwestern Hospital, and I was extremely grateful that they were able to help me out so much, but I was even happier to get out of there. The middle picture is my first day home from the hospital, and some people have called me a little crazy for this, but I knew that this was pivotal. And the video that you're going to see here now on the right, the video you're going to see here now on the right was my very first day home from the hospital. I was home from the hospital for maybe a few hours, and I went over to my mom's house to have some dinner, and my brother was driving me home because I was very medicated. And I said, Jonah, we're going to Mchenry. We're going to go to the store. And he was like, okay. And when we're on our way, I said, Jonah, we're going to the gym. Don't tell mom or dad. And they were like, he's like, what? Are you crazy? I'm like, a little bit. But if I can work out now, if I can do something today, what excuse do I have tomorrow, right? If I can do this right now, why can't I do it now? So I told myself, if I can just get through this today, why not, right? So, so it basically just means that when I realized winning does not mean being perfect, it just means not giving up. And that is the biggest thing that I have learned, is it's not failure, it just gives you another opportunity to try again. And the biggest thing, and I'm going to talk about it later on and show a little visual, but it's being 1% better every day and falling asleep proud of yourself. You know, I know that for me, I'm 25 and here, nobody in here is perfect. And there's always the little things that you can do to just get a little bit better. And it doesn't have to be taking over the world or doing anything extremely great, but even if you guys are having a snack at night and you have a bowl next to your room, well, instead of going upstairs and not grabbing it, just try to be 1% better and just grab that before you go upstairs. If your room's dirty and you don't want to do it all today, just do a little bit today so you're always moving forward, right? Don't let all these problems continuously build up and grow before they come over, before you're overwhelmed. Now, these are adapting to challenges. Everyday tasks become puzzles I have to have, or that I have to do. Everything is different, right? How do I open up a jar? How do I cut things? How do I chop vegetables? Everything becomes question marks in trying to redo everything I've done. And if I brought every prop or everything I've bought, we could be here all day because I am always continuing to adapt and find new ways. I even bought new shoes that are going to be here today that have no shoelaces that you just turn and makes my life easier as well. So even over 2 years later, I am still always finding ways to adapt and try to become better and just find ways to grow. Eating, getting dressed, brushing my teeth, new ways to do it all. Another key note is I used to be left-handed, now I'm right-handed, so I had to find all new ways how to write. I mean, literally everything that you could imagine that had my life has changed, I probably had to figure it out. I had to get creative, and then here's a video, and this is an emotional video. Oh, man. The video on the left is me seeing my hand for the first time, and this video is pretty emotional because this is my rock bottom. I had 2 rock bottoms in my life, and one was when my surgeon looked me in the eyes and told me that I was going to wake up without my left hand, and I had to sign a piece of paper giving my permission to wake up without my hand. I'll take questions at the end, buddy. And then, so this was me getting my hand revealed, and this is my second lowest. You know, when I have all the bandages on, you don't really know with what you're left, and there's always this question mark and some optimism of, you know, everything's going to be okay. But when you see that, you have to kind of just take it in. But then I made a joke at the end and try to make the best out of a situation. Adapting to challenges. Here's, again, maybe a couple days after my injury. I know you guys are young, you shouldn't be weightlifting yet really, but you know, just in the one picture you can see I have a whole bandage on, I have stitches in my hand, but I'm just finding a way to move my body. I just want to be a part of something and just do it. Here's me doing bands, and then the picture on the right is me holding a fishing pole. This was after I went to my prosthetic doctor, and I had no idea how I was gonna fish again, but I just knew I wanted to, and I wanted to figure it out. And then this video is just last weekend. I'm still always trying to grow and find new challenges to push myself, but now it's just different levels. This was me rock climbing for the first time, and secret is out. It is tough. It is tough to do, and this wall is actually hard for some people with 2 hands, and it took me about 10 attempts. It's not like I just easily got this, but when I went there, I said, I am not leaving until I get this. And my fingers hurt, I was tired, I scraped my knee, I still have a scab on my knee from it, but eventually I got it, and I was able just to keep working with it and just keep continuing to grow and finally get it. And I was extremely happy with that. You can just see, I was a little scared. I won't show you getting down because it took a little while, but eventually I got it. So here is how my prosthetics work. I know this is something you guys are all pretty interested in, but I do have something to tell you. I do not really wear my prosthetics. Prosthetics are a great tool that do happen. I do use them in certain instances, but the beautiful thing is I have adapted quite well where I don't really feel the complete need to have to wear them all the time, but I will tell you how the process works. So once you get into your accident where you feel you need a prosthetic device, you have to wait until your hand is completely healed because it has to take the exact shape of whatever your hand looks like. So after that happens, I did put it in the first picture, but then you get a mold in the cover photo. You get a mold of your hand, and then from there, they just start working. So you can see in this photo, this was like one of my first stages of my hand prosthetic, and what they do is they basically allow you to take it home, practice it, use it, figure out the positioning of the fingers, and just kind of keep working with it. And then every 2 weeks, you go there, do a little adjustment, go back, and this process happened for over 6 months of going to the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab in Chicago. And one thing I did not plan on talking about, but I will, is when I was at that hospital, Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, it really something that changed my life dramatically is perspective. Because a lot of people can look at me today and go, oh my gosh, he lost his 4 fingers, how did he do it? And that's fair, but when I was at this hospital, nobody could go there for a cough or just a little cold. Everybody there at this hospital had extremely things bad with them. And on my floor was the prosthetic floor for amputees. And I remember twice seeing this woman. She did not speak any English. She was already uncomfortable, and she was missing all 4 limbs, above her knee and right below her elbows. And I will never forget this woman, and I wish I could thank her, because I remember seeing her, looking how scared she was, and just remember thinking, what is 4 fingers? You know, I'm over here feeling sorry for myself for 4 fingers, and this woman does not have a single limb. And that hospital really shaped my life and really helped change my perspective, because it's crazy. I lost 4 fingers on my dominant hand, and I felt like I did not belong there. I felt like an outcast, and I felt like I was not deserving because of all the other people that I saw there. And it really helped change how I thought. So I'll put on my prosthetics now. I'm going to put down the mic for a second just to show you how my prosthetics work, and we'll go through that for a second. So this is my one prosthetic. I use it if I'm doing things like jumping rope, or more in the beginning when I was like trying to cook for myself. It was very easy to hold a spatula and like a skillet at the same time. It is not robotic because I did want it to be robust. It's made out of carbon fiber, brass, and carbon fiber and brass mostly. And the fingers basically work like a ratchet system. So if I were to, I don't really have a good example, but if I were to grab onto something, I guess I have a water bottle, but you guys get the point. If I were to move them, the fingers move by me using my other hand to control them. So if I was jumping rope, I could put them over the jump rope and I could jump rope, right? Now this is for being really robust. There is ones that are mechanical that attach to your hand, but they're very expensive. They're not waterproof. You got to charge them. And quite honestly, I just believe I've kind of adapted past them in the most respectful way possible. I just don't believe I need them. Now, if I was missing my thumb, it could be a completely different story, but I am sharing my experience as my hand amputation of the things I went through. So I can't speak for anyone else, right? So that is kind of how I use that one. It is cool. I try to find ways to use it. When I'm fishing, it helps me tie like fishing hooks and lures, because as you can imagine, tying fishing lures and whatnot can be very challenging. I'm going to talk about this later on as well, but this is another one of my prosthetics, and this one unfortunately doesn't really get used at all, because again, I've kind of grown past it. But what it does is it's a boa system that goes onto my hand, and then this was actually for me shooting my bow. But I also have another attachment that can go right into this little slot, and then this is for lifting weights. So I could put a little weight in here, and I could do like shoulder presses or all different sorts of things that kind of just allowed me to be active. I was very upset that I was not allowed to do certain things that people were able to do. So it was my mission to try to get back in the game to allow myself to do some things. Now, like I said, I don't really wear these prosthetics all too much. I wear the hand one more. The unfortunate thing is the unfortunate but fortunate thing is I just kind of grew past them, simply. I'll get into this more as well. I'm going to be a little all over the place, but just to kind of show you guys, just an adaptation and just trying to grow and feel better. I'm not going to get too into this, but I do love shooting archery, right? So it was one of my biggest things is I was told, well, why don't you just not do that? Well, I said, well, I want to. How am I going to figure out how to do this? So this is what I originally started off with. This took many months to develop. It was very expensive, and unfortunately I don't use it because it's not very practical. Because over time and consistency and trying to get better, I was able to find a way where I could just simply use this, and I have more pictures too, I'll get into it, but I was able just to hook this on to my bow and be able to shoot. So that's just one simple thing of just going from like year 1 to year 2 of consistency, learning, and growing, of trying to find better ways to make a better life for myself. The next thing we're going to be talking about is mindset and mental strength. I think this would probably be the most important slide. Your mindset is your greatest tool. I truly do believe that life is mostly just how you react to things rather than what comes to you. The hardest thing in your life is still hard, and that's okay. Now, what does that mean? Now, what that means to me is that when I went through something like a hand amputation, the hardest thing that something is in life for you, the easier everything else in life is. So when I went through a hand amputation, it really showed me that, okay, if I get frustrated or I spill some milk, I'm not going to let it ruin my day. How do I go through losing 4 fingers? And how do I get through that? But how do I get upset with this, right? So it's funny that I've gone through all these challenges of going through losing 4 fingers, yet it's made the rest of my life easier. And it's kind of ironic and it's kind of funny, but for me it's true. Because after becoming a hand amputee, everything else in life is easier in comparison. Now, that does not mean that your problems are not valid, because the hardest thing that's ever happened to you is the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. So I purposely try to set out challenging things. I have some other pictures as well, but even before my accident, I was doing ice baths. I sat in a cold, freezing tub of ice for 15 minutes before my accident, because even before my accident, I was still trying to push myself and become stronger and stronger mentally. And then I think I asked a little bit too much and kind of got the bad end of the stick on that one. I was kind of asking for it. But another visual of just kind of me shooting archery is the picture on the left. And again, these are my hobbies. I can only talk about my life and the things I enjoy, so I understand that you guys are not all into this, but this is a visual. On the left was me shooting my bow at 30 yards with my prosthetic. And then on the right was me shooting my new release I now use at 50 yards. Now, I understand you guys might not be into it, but you could visually see that my distance went farther and I got better. Now, this did not happen overnight. This was me practicing months and months and months to try to get better. And I'm a visual learner as well, so I wanted to show the power of tiny gains. And this is something that has truly helped me dramatically in life. And I'm going to keep on talking about it, because just being a little bit better every single day, and no matter what you're doing, is so powerful over time. Because here's being 1% better every day over a year, over 1% worse every single day over a year. And you can visually see that just a little bit takes you far. Now, this says 37, which means 37 times. I don't know exactly what 37 times means, but I know the graph goes up, and that means a better life. That's all I know. Here's some more mindset and mental strength. This was me like a week after, maybe like 10 days after my accident. I'm just gonna, oops. And I have a bag on my arm, as you can see, but I still wanted to do an ice bath. Again, some people call this crazy. I call it a necessity, because I did not want to be vulnerable. I do not want people to feel sorry for me, and I just didn't want to be seen as someone that was disabled. Truthfully, I don't like that word. I do not think I'm disabled. I truly think I'm stronger physically and mentally before my accident. So I just have to keep proving to myself every single day that that is true. The second video that I'll be playing, these 2 videos are 10 months apart. One is me literally laying in a hospital bed with IVs in. The next clip is me doing a pull-up without using any fingers. I was at the gym and I was talking to one of my buddies, and he's like, "What can you not do?" And I was like, "I can't do a pull-up, and it's so frustrating. Like, I can't." And he's like, "Yes, you can. You can do a pull-up." And again, I had to be mentally pushed to show that I can do things that I'm stronger than. So there's that. And then the last clip is just me continuing to evolve. Before, I probably would have worn my prosthetic to try to do something. And this is me just doing a workout that is a little bit scary to do with 6 fingers. But I always am trying to push myself and trying to find new ways to get better. Finding good even when it's hard. At first I focused what I lost, but then I started to see what I gained. Again, everything in life has kind of become easier for me in that aspect. If you always are just kind of feel sorry for yourself, that's all you're going to do. You're going to make excuses, and you're just going to always have reasons on why you can't do something. But I just always try to tell myself, like, not what is the problem, but how do I find a solution? And that is the biggest thing with being an amputee, is if you tell yourself you cannot do something, or even in life, then you simply will not be able to do it. But if you always think, how do I find a solution? How do I do this? Then eventually you will find that solution. Now, this first video is me fishing in Lake Michigan. And after my accident, I had no idea how I was even going to hold a fishing pole, let alone catch a big fish, which you saw in that cover photo. And it's not easy, but it's not supposed to be easy. And this was me using no prosthetic, using absolutely nothing to catch a fish. The second one is me muskie fishing, and this is pretty important to me because even before my accident, I tried catching a muskie so long and I had no success. And this video doesn't have audio, but I was actually talking about my grandpa in this video, who was a huge muskie fisherman that passed away. And as I was talking to him, literally right at this moment, I started just talking to my buddy. We were talking about him, and then right about here, I hooked into a muskie, and this was a huge moment for me because I always told myself, how am I going to do this? How am I going to catch a fish this big with 6 fingers? This thing is hard to catch with 12 fingers. How am I going to do this? But I just had to figure out a way, and I just had to keep trying and failing. And something that's so hard is that you guys can't see all the failures. And I kind of put up these highlights, and I post mostly the highlights, but what you guys don't see is me crying to myself when I didn't know how to tie my shoes. Me crying to myself when I hurt just to do anything. Me crying, not crying, but me getting irritated when I couldn't scratch my right side of my shoulder because I don't have fingers anymore, right? Unfortunately, but fortunately, you guys don't see all that. The next picture is just me signing out of the hospital. And then this last video is me a year after my accident. And again, just doing an ice bath and trying to get better and better. And just, ice baths are very important for me. They're hard. They never get easier. Conclusion, what I do hope that you guys remember, life will throw challenges at you, but you are stronger than you think. Your mind is incredibly strong if you do allow it to be. Your different struggles and failure do not define you. It just gives you another opportunity to keep on growing and being better. What does define you is how you keep going. You know, if everyone had a story, when you're looking back on your final days and when we're all old, you know, what type of story do you want to tell? You know, if I would have said, oh, I lost 4 fingers, I let everyone feel sorry for myself, I didn't really do much with my life, I just kind of was sad and I was depressed my whole entire life, and I kind of let it take advantage of me. I let one incident take advantage of my entire life. Or I could say, hey, this was my fault. I take responsibility for getting myself into an accident. I have to become 1% better every single day to try to become a better version of myself every single day. And we all have our hard days. I'm not sitting up here to tell you that I am perfect, because I am far from it. I have to continue to get better and learn and adjust every single day, just like all of us here. And the picture on the bottom, this was me. I used to be left-handed, as I said, so I was doing something with my right hand. I was working, and I was pounding a steak with my right hand, and I missed, and I almost took off my right pointer finger and had to get stitches. So this just goes to show that, like, I am still facing challenges. I am still facing pain. I am still learning. I am learning every single day. I wanted to show you guys a video of me ice fishing with my prosthetics, so you guys can actually see how I do use my prosthetic. And just kind of see it in some action, because I don't tend to use it as much, but I am trying to find ways to make it more useful. Another thing is be kind. You know, you do never know what someone is going through. Mine is a physical thing that people can see, but there is many of us that face physical and mental challenges that none of us might not be aware of. So you have to understand to always be kind and respectful to people because you never know what they're going through. There's even been days where, you know, I have a big smile on my face and being happy, but inside there's days where I'm not proud of myself, and I have to remind myself that I'm human and I just have to keep being better and moving on. And then you have to remember that you have the power to turn hard things into amazing things. And this last video was just a couple weeks ago. Before my accident, I was able to do something called a muscle up, which is basically you are able to lift yourself above a pull-up bar, past a pull-up, and this is one of my new challenges that I will get. I cannot do it now, but I'm basically going to have to try to lift myself up there without essentially using any of my fingers, and it is going to be hard, but I am going to get it, and I'm saying this now so we all know, and I'm manifesting it. And last are just some extra clips I just kind of put on there, just some extra things. There's me shooting my bow now without my prosthetic. I want to show you guys a couple other things as well, because I know there may be some questions asking about it too. So before, I mostly used this prosthetic with that weightlifting clip to try to do things. But as I've progressed and I've gotten stronger and my wrist has gotten more built up and everything, the two things I only really use, these two prosthetics are like thousands of dollars, and I got these two things for like $40 off Amazon, and I use these every single day and I never use those. So it just is funny how life works. But I basically just use this for pull-ups if need be, and then I would use this for like a cable machine to do different cables, do different things that just allow me to keep doing the things I love, to work out and enjoy my passions. Another thing, I don't play too much Xbox or video games, but if I were to, and when I do, the controller I use is basically just another controller that has paddles in the back, which I'm sure many of you know, the LB and LT are now basically where my fingers are. So now instead of having to hit these two buttons, they're now in the back of my controller. So again, I've had to make so many little adaptations of life, of playing games to how I tie my shoes, to doing everything, where once you find a solution, it does kind of get easier, but the hardest part is finding the solution and being willing to have the patience to find that solution. So that is basically everything. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. Yeah.
Anybody got questions that you want to ask?
In the brown?